Hey chicks, it's Megan here, and I am about to start packing. Well, actually not start packing, but finish packing for my upcoming trip. And for me personally, packing is one of the things that gives me the most anxiety. I absolutely stress about it. I don't know why, but I just get very overwhelmed at the thought of having to plan out my entire life for whether it's 3 days, 5 days, a whole week, whatever. So I figured I'd share some of my best practices and my tips if this is something that also gives you a little bit of angst when you have to pack for a trip. So first and foremost for me, I am a big sort of small bag organizer type person. So if I have a big giant suitcase, I'm going to stuff it full of everything, and I'm not going to do it in a very organized capacity. So I like to have a ton of smaller sized bags to make sure that everything stays organized, and of course they all have to match. But I literally break everything out. So like I have my makeup here, I have chargers and anything electronic in here, I have hair accessories, so like bobby pins and hair ties in this one. I like to break everything out so that it's just an easy quick grab and everything doesn't get completely disorganized when I'm throwing stuff back into my suitcase. I also have this really cute bra and underwear organizer that I got a few years ago, which has been such a lifesaver. So it's even got little handles, and it's leopard print, of course, which is fabulous. But I put all my bras and underwear in here because that is another thing that just kind of gets thrown about in my suitcase as I'm going through a trip, especially if it's a trip where I have multiple destinations. So for the trip I'm going on this week, I'm going to Florida and then I'm going on a cruise. So I like to keep everything as organized as possible just to avoid losing things or not knowing what's clean, what's dirty, all of that. I always recommend, if you are going to be sightseeing of any kind, get a small purse that isn't a purse, right? So having something like over your shoulder is kind of annoying when you're sightseeing. So this is actually a crossbody that you can wear both in the back or in the front, with little small pockets. So it's almost kind of like a fanny pack, which fanny packs are super back in. I actually have one. But this is a little bit less intense than a fanny pack, a little bit more pressure on the shoulders as opposed to being around the waist. But I'm really excited to use this because everything is very easily accessible right in front of you. Speaking of organization, I also organize all of my jewelry as well. So I'm sure most people who travel have something like this, but I used to stick all of my jewelry in one bag, and then it would come out in a giant lump of a tangled mess. So I stopped doing that. I got this jewelry organizer that has multiple different packages. So like I put earrings in one, I'll put like hoop earrings in one, stud earrings in another, rings in another, just to keep things, again, super organized, because there's nothing worse than a necklace tangle when you really want to wear something on vacation, but you can't because it's in knots. So love my jewelry organizer. Finally, I think it's finally, let me peek here. No, not finally, almost finally, backpack. So in addition to the little crossbody that I have for when I'm going like sightseeing or going to the Disney parks, I also bring a backpack instead of a purse with me on the plane. So this ends up being my carry-on. It's got everything in here from my headphones that I'll use to listen to music, to my book, to my wallet, boarding pass. I think my Disney Mickey ears are in here. What's up? Gotta have those for the trip too. So everything that I need sort of readily accessible on the plane is in my backpack, my phone, things like that. I just find that having the ability to put it on two shoulders as opposed to having my big purse is so much easier. So those are my tips and hopefully helpful hints on how to pack efficiently. So if you have a trip coming up, maybe you can incorporate some of these to see if they work for you. Thanks, chicks.